Okay, as the scriptures declares that Psalms 118 verse 24, this is the day that the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you all again for this wonderful live. This Saturday, we are the host, myself, ETM Apologetics. Uh, we have Johnny Apologetics, we have Christian Apologetics Network, we are Ready to Reason, and we have now our guest, 11 Apologetics. So we host this live every Saturday, 3 p.m. UK time. And now we're in the series of the preservation of the Quran, as you can see. Every Saturday, we invite new guests to come and speak on the preservation. Why we do this? Do we have any issue with what's going on whatsoever, whether or not the Quran has variants or the manuscripts? No, we don't have any problem as a Christian because we know that a textual variant does not undermine the core doctrine of the faith. We can recognize that even in the Islamic context. But Muslims all the time, especially the Dawah guys, say that the Quran has been perfectly preserved, letter by letter, word for word, dot for dot, from the time of Muhammad until now. There is no error, there is no change. So, since that is their claim, and they want to attack Christians because of the variants, we're going to use the same courtesy. We're going to analyze historical data back from the time of Muhammad till now to see whether or not that claim is valid. Okay, so I would say before we hand it over to our brother 11 Apologetics, and 11 Apologetics is a brother that I've known for some time that does have a YouTube channel called 11 Apologetics that does a short video whether on the Islamic dilemma, historical data of Muhammad, or the deity of Christ. And after that, I'm gonna show his YouTube channel about what videos he sent so that people can actually learn from his videos. So go check him out and you will learn something new. Okay. So Brother 11 Apologetics, I will say that the floor is yours and may the Lord bless you and he gave you words and wisdom on what you will have to say to edify the body and to also share the gospel to our Muslim friends. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, brother, for that introduction. Without wasting much time, the topic we have today is memorization, the perfect form of preservation, and this is a topic part of the series that's been hosted by this channel, the Quran Preservation series, and we're examining a particular topic which is memorization, the perfect form of preservation. Why is this topic very important? Well, if you've worked with Muslims a lot, you get a very common claim from them that the Quran is perfectly preserved because millions have memorized it. This is a claim that's usually presented as decisive and unquestionable, often implying that memorization alone is sufficient proof of perfect preservation. So, what we want to do today is examine this whether memorization is a perfect form or a perfect mode of preservation. Now, one thing we need to put into consideration is the fact like this argument assumes that the quantity of memorizers equals accuracy in transmission. It also assumes that oral transmission is immune to error. But we're going to examine this based on Islamic own history to check whether preservation was actually caught in it and whether it was a perfect form of preserving the Quran. Now, this presentation is not to deny that memorization occurred. It did. But we are just trying to check under a more zoomed on picture whether memorization itself is a perfect way to preserve the Quran. Now, we can start this by having a very quick question or just a basic understanding on what memorization is. What's memorization? Memorization is just a form of oral transmission where knowledge is passed down from teacher to students from generation to generation. That's basically what memorization is. Now, memorization or oral transmission depends on 3 to 4 major things. One of it is human memory, another is accuracy of teachers, another is consistency of repetition, and also the control of errors across regions. Now, one major form or one major medium in which memorization or oral transmission must take carry on is through the human memory. And that's one thing I want us to pay close attention to. The human memory is powerful, but yet it is fallible, which means it is prone to error, it is prone to mistakes. It doesn't guarantee perfection. Although it's a very powerful tool, it's also very fallible, which means mistakes, errors, and all the likes core points we need to pay attention to because this is very important to when it comes to the human memory. This the major thing required for oral transmission, the human memory. Memorization relies entirely on human cognitive capacity. And from study, it shows that even trained memorizers experience gradual degradation of information over time without consistent reinforcement of verification. Now, let's look at historical reality here, how the Quran was preserved initially. Well, there are 2 major ways the Quran was preserved. One, it was memorized by companions, and the other, it was written on scattered materials like palm leaves, stones, animal bones, and even parchments. Now, what do we observe from this? We all know this is just basic Islamic history that memorization was one of the mode in which Muslims, early Muslims used to memorize the Quran, to preserve the Quran. But we also need to pay attention to the fact like it was written at some point, even on palm leaves, stones, and all these animal skins, animal bones. Reason why, which raises the question: if memorization was cutting it, why were they need, or why was there even a need to write the Quran on all these parchments? What we can gain from what the early Muslims were doing is that there is a coexistence between memorization and also the written fragments in which they had. They did not rely solely on memorization alone. They had to use the two to preserve the Quran because even at that time, they know that memorization wasn't cutting it. And even as we move on with this presentation, we're going to see why they had to do so. But now, this is memorization a perfect form of preservation. This particular topic connects with multiple of topics that have already been discussed in this series, like the first and second compilation of the Quran and also the variant Quran discussion. We're going to be paraphrasing from the ideas of those topics to be able to get a very zoomed down picture on whether memorization was a part.
Okay, connection.
And he
Is that like a connection issue or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll jump back again, hopefully. Oh, Christian Apologetics bones as well.
this is oh my gosh.
Yep. Yes. Bear with us. It's not easy. Nigeria. I feel for them. He just messaged that his internet is quite bad. Okay.
Okay, Christian Apologetics Network is back, and we just need level apologetics.
Yeah, you get back soon. So. Do you get some of his presentation so far when he was talking? Nice.
Yeah, he was sort of laying the groundwork with memorization and just put it in what it encompasses.
Mm.
I don't think we got quite to the meat of the presentation yet.
Mm. Yeah. He's trying to get it back together because when Kamal trying to go back to the presentation, he could take time to load. Technical difficulties. Okay.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, if you're there, Ray, um, you could join if you want to cover up every time you drop.
I guess I'll just rejoin in a bit.
Yep.
I think the network or probably power supply. It's it's it will be either of the two. Mm, mm,
What's
Good
going
day.
on, Brother Ray?
Good day. Good day.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. What's good? How you doing?
There we go.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. Super, super. Shall I kind of carry on from where you left off?
Yep. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So one of the good points he made there was as much as oral tradition we can accept what was available and was utilized, it clearly is proven from a human perspective is unreliable, and therefore it's no surprise that in very early on, of course, we have evidence well before the 7th century, the availability of various different ways to record speech, and he showed some cases where actual evidence where Muslims did record it, whether it's on sticks, bones, parchments, There were papyrus around at that time, and in the 8th century, China was the inventor, if you like, of what we would call paper, a proper sort of type of paper. So that was made available very early on from the 7th century. So that was clearly utilized by the Muslims. So then have you ask yourself, if it was that we did have these cases of evidence of recording of the Quran, and then later on the hadiths, more importantly the Quran, it shows the value and importance of written documentation. And we do know that if anybody very simply would memorize anything that's lengthy, then it makes absolute sense that you would utilize that opportunity to write it down as a very important record to confirm and ensure that you've got your accuracy and factual information placed in a way that it reduces that risk of the potential that you may forget. And the two, as we know, back then, of course, there were battles going on. There were many battles around the time where it was recorded that many Muslims were losing their lives, and there was a concern. It was clearly stated that were certain parts of the memorization of the Quran could be lost because of these battles, because people in battles that memorize the Quran did lose their lives. And then we see as things, maybe I can share my screen. I've only just put something together very briefly, so I haven't had a chance to do anything too amazing, but hopefully it will help.
Christian Apologetics Network disappeared, so I don't know if you can share your screen right now.
Okay, can you see it?
Like, you can share it, but nobody's here to bring it up on the stage.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, that probably isn't going to be much use then. I'll just read through my notes then. So, of course, they became the very, very important aspect of the fact that we do forget, clearly in humankind, that it was recorded. And we have proof in Islamic history that this was recorded very early on, as I said, in sticks, bones, parchments, then finally in paper in the 8th century. And this is where it gets interesting. With those recordings, there were some real failures with recording that information. Why and how do we know this? I did a one on the previous, I don't know how many weeks ago now, was showing you the differences in the Quran. Preservation of the Quran wasn't as successful as they thought. If there was perfect oral tradition, then the task of writing down a perfect oral tradition shouldn't be difficult. All you're doing is recalling what you've perfectly remembered, and you're just writing it down. And you could have many, many scribes. Because you look at the example of the Bible, we have many, many scribes that are copying the recitation of, in this case, the Bible. So in this case, we had scribes writing down what was memorized by these individuals. And if the memorization was that good, why isn't the written version of that just as good? There should be no reason why there'd be any difficulty in writing down accurately if there was perfect oral preservation. What we find is in the Uthmanic canonization is probably a really good place to look, because what Uthman did is he found that there were too many variations of the so-called Quran. There were cases where certain verses were missing. There were certain cases where verses, they really didn't know whether to include them or not. So there was some question over validity of certain verses. And basically what happened was is as a result, through Uthman, he made a whole number of, if you like, bringing collections of various different Qurans, realized there were a major difference, and he ended up standardizing it by burning all the copies that didn't agree with his final version. So that was again massive evidence that the tradition of recording the Quran was certainly not as accurate as claimed. That's the clear evidence. The second very important point to make, which is a very important historical point, is if you're going to record history that is that important, this is obviously regarding people's lives, because Quran is also suggesting that you receive eternal life by being a Muslim and believing in the Quran and believing in Allah and Muhammad. They knew the value and importance of the Quran. If it was so important, then the history and evidence to back up the Quran would be also very important. So you would think there'll be a lot of effort and emphasis put to ensure that preservation. If, for example, you relied purely on an oral tradition, the major issue you would have is you've got no way of historically providing any evidence. You've got no history because all the people that memorize it are no longer here. So you have no idea how well oral tradition worked, how successful it was, if it wasn't ever written down. So that shows you clearly, and they would know this, that if they want to ensure a book that is that important, they would make every effort to make sure it is written down, because one, it provides validation and assurance of what was revealed as revelation, and two, you've got history to support it. So later on, when people look back, they can attest to the Quran based on that preservation. If it was just oral, there'll be no way to provide that evidence. So historically, it's a very unstable position to be on such an important book. And that's why the written version is so key if you're ever going to historically validate any particular recording of history, especially in terms of speech, if you want to make sure that it reaches the audience appropriately. Now, I don't know if you want me to continue or you want 11 to jump in, guys.
No, you can
11 if
continue,
you're there. Yeah. Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for the heads up.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Ray, for that. Just to continue from where I stopped and picking up from where I stopped. Uh, we are talking basically on the historical reality of the Quran and how it was initially memorized by companions and also written on fragments. And what I just wanted to highlight there was if memorization was cutting it, they won't actually need to rely on writing the Quran on fragments. Just because the Quran, the memorization itself is not an accurate or effective way of preserving a particular text. That's why having a written document is important. And why is this important? Which moves on to my next point, which is there were differences among what the memorizers were having. We can see during the from historical hadiths, the hadiths we have from Muslims, that the companions of Muhammad who memorized the Quran as well, they disagreed on certain verses. They corrected each other. They had just different correction, which implies that there were variations in what they were memorizing. And this is a common issue that usually occurs when you have maybe a particular history, a particular document only being preserved through memorization. Memorization always preserves variations. It does not effectively or accurately preserve a particular text. And that's why the companions of Muhammad were having the same issue when they disagreed on certain Quranic verses. Which moves on to the next point, the Quran having Qira'at issue, or maybe just say Islam itself. From because of different recitations we see in the Hadith, we find out that the Quran was uh, re- revealed in 7 or 10 different forms, depending on how you go about it. And even according to the Islamic scholars, they find this a very big issue, according to them, and they themselves hold this as a very important or a very clinical problem for them because they don't know which is right. These are just different variations of the one particular Quran. And these different variations have different words, different grammatical structures, even different meaning, which is given about different Quran. And we even see this Quran issue affect the Qurans of today. We have different Qurans today that are so-called perfectly preserved, having different words, different meaning, which contradict each other because the two cannot be true. If both are coming from God, one has to be true. One particular Quran has to be true. But we don't see that here because of we have different Qurans because of the different variations that occurred from memorization. Now, why is this a point? Memorization without a standard text is inefficient. Why? Because there's difference between the way early Muslims memorize and the way modern Muslims memorize. It's common knowledge that even modern Muslims today they do memorize the Quran. But what makes theirs more effective is because their memorization is coming from a standard text after the Ottomanic standardization. Their memorization is coming from a standard text, something the early Muslims did not have early on. They did not have they did not have a standard text. The early Muslims did not have a standard text to pull from. They were all going off of based what their teacher taught them and what they learned. So whether there was errors in what they were memorizing, they had no idea, and that's what preserved the variations. But for modern Muslims today, memorization is still not perfect, but to a point, because of there's a standard text, it is much more controlled. So early Muslims were not accurately preserving the Quran through memorization. They were not accurately preserving through memorization. Now, what I basically want to do is we can check from historical database that other traditions, including like the Jewish oral law, the Hindu scriptures, and even African traditions, all these traditions and many other, they at one point in time they all preserve their stories, their scripture through oral transmission. And what was the result of this? There were variations in everything they were doing, and that's why they had to resort to standardizing a particular text. Even according to African tradition, I'm African, by the way. I can't accurately tell you the history of my particular tribe because I don't even know the original story. If you put two or three people from my same tribe to tell you the story of how this a particular African tribe came to be, we all give you different stories because we all learned the story through memorization. So there are variations, everybody memorized different variations of the story. So we don't even know the accurate story on any particular thing, which shows that memorization is a faulty means of preservation. And this has affected not only Muslims, but every other traditions that have tried to preserve their texts through memorization, which is the main thing we try to examine today when we say, is memorization a perfect form of preservation? The short answer is no, it is not a perfect form of preservation. All it does is preserve variations. The reason why is because the human memory is infallible. The main medium to preserve oral transmission, which is the human memory, it is infallible. Even according to researchers, this is a common knowledge. It is very infallible. It is very fallible. The human memory is very fallible, which brings us to the common claim Muslims hold that because of millions memorized the Quran is perfectly preserved. We can see this claim is hereby debunked because even according to early Muslims, they did not believe this. Going back to even the second compilation of the Quran by the third Caliph, Caliph Uthman, we noticed that when Uthman wanted to standardize a particular text, what he did was he looked for a Quran, a written Quran. If you ask any Muslim, why didn't Uthman just call a good memorizer to get the Quran from a companion or so that have memorized the Quran? It's because even then, early Muslims knew that memorization was not cutting it. They were just preserving variations. That's why they chose to standardize a particular text through a particular written document. The best form to preserve any document is through written form. And we can even go into that on Islamic history, whether the written form of documents is perfectly preserved, but that's not the topic of today's. The topic is memorization a perfect form? From just these little historical events that happen in Islamic history, we can see that memorization is not a perfect form of preserving any scripture, not even the Islamic scripture. Thank you.
Nice one. Okay, if anyone wants to add, thank you so much, Devin Apologetics, for your sacrifice and your time to give us a teaching session on the memorization of the Quran, going back into historical data that it doesn't show anything. Memorization doesn't prove any form of preservation. It just proved that a bunch of nonsense, just memorizing a lot of things. But who knows? But I yet to see one Muslim memorize the entire Quran. People say that, but I never see that before. Anyone wants to add? Then the floor is open.
Just really quick, I'll let you guys go ahead and do all this first. But if I have the permission of Christian Apologetics Network, I was trying to let Aladdin know to be respectful in the chat, and then he started making claims about the Bible. So now I want to challenge him to come up and prove his claims. But I want you guys to do everything here first and handle the topic first before doing that. So go ahead. And it was a wonderful presentation, brother. I know there was technical difficulties, but you powered through and were able to get through it. So I appreciate it for you coming up here, brother Levin.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. I just to answer what ETM said, I do know of some Muslims that know like they've memorized the Quran according to them, but they don't understand it. But they do have it memorized. But the thing is, the memorization they are doing now is still quite better from what the early Muslims were doing. The early Muslims did not have a standardized text of what they were trying to memorize. They were just memorizing, they were going based off what their teacher taught them. But the Muslims nowadays have a particular standardized text in which they pull from, so which is more controlled, which means if by any chance there was an error made, they can easily just refer back to the Quran, the written or the printed documents they have, and check whether what they have memorized is true. So now you can make a case that memorization is good, but back then, during the time of the early Muslims, memorization was definitely not cutting it because there was no standardized text.
Mm, yeah, that is true. Okay, Christian Apologetics off. Anyone wants to add anything? It looks like Aladdin was not dealing with the topic, but I would say Aladdin, keep it respectful. Keep it respectful.
So just basically what happened, a quick synopsis. He was saying things to Brother Ray in the live chat, and I've been able to have respectful, and in fact, I'm actually going to post them soon. Conversation I had with Aladdin that were actually good. But when he started talking to Brother Ray in the live chat, like insulting him, I jumped in and let him know stop throwing ad hominem attacks. Be respectful, and then one thing led to another, and now he's talking about Jesus and the cross and that I disrespect Jesus. So now, and instead of just rebuking him for being disrespectful, I'm inviting him to come up and talk about it.
Yeah, one thing.
Because
One thing, if you try to join, and he knows the medicine, because every time I attack his prophet, he don't like it. So respect yourself. I see the ad hominems, and if you do it again, then I'll just give you a taste of your medicine if you don't stop.
there's 8 people in the studio. That's crazy. And what we could do, like, just because I just so I'm not jumping at him, like, we can literally do a 3-minute back and forth or whatever, or just like whatever you guys want to moderate it. I don't mind. I just want to discuss with them because
Christian
all I
Apologetics.
wanted to do, yeah, Christian Apologetics is backstage. All I wanted to do was just to keep him in check and be respectful. But now he's talking about Jesus and the cross, so now I got to break this down to him again. So, yeah.
Wait, how many times have you done this at this point?
This is like my 5th time.
Yeah, bring him on. Bring him on. Let's see what he's gonna say.
You know what? Christian Apologetics Network might have some issues. So,
Okay. Can you hear me, Christian Apologetics Network?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to bring him on stage. He's not adding up. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh,
It
he's
says
not.
8 people. I'm not sure who else would be here.
Notice he said, "I'm here, boys." Like Ray, like I don't know if you know Ray is older than you, older than Aldine. When we call him an old man, he wanna find that insulting.
The Holy Spirit be with me.
Okay. I don't know why he's
Are
not
you click?
hiding. I'm hiding. I'm trying to hide him on stage, right?
Try refreshing the page. Like, what's this thing called? I don't even know what it's called. This arrow that goes like, yeah, that refreshes the page and the top left of the screen.
Okay.
At least for you, not Ray. Okay, that's.
Hold on.
Do you need to like try rejoining maybe?
Okay, let me try.
By the way, Aladdin, just since you're here, just to make sure we do this right, do you want to start or do you want me to read your comment and then explain my point? Just so we can do this right here. Wait, who else is in the side chat here?
It says. I mean, it says 8 people. Sorry, some
Tay. I don't know who that Tay is. It's like Brother Ray's evil twin brother or something.
Who?
There's someone named Tay in the studio. I don't know who that is.
It's crazy. If Tay is there, then text us, tell us who you are.
I will ask Ray why did he delete the video from his channel. Oh, I thought we were going to talk. What the heck?
Where's Aldine? Can you see him? Christian Apologetics.
Tay says, I am not on stage. Christian Apologetics Network, are you there? We're still
Yeah,
gracious
yeah,
and
yeah.
18. We talked like 8 times,
Yeah.
dude. Come on.
I can see Aladdin.
Okay, Tay is gone.
Okay. I think
Oh,
I
no,
know
he's
what the
back.
problem is. Okay. It's saying the studio is limited to 6 people on the screen. Okay.
I hear parakeets.
It's limited to 6 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Limit is 6 people. Is that why?
Yeah, that's the reason. I'm just in the
okay.
message now.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to thank Brother 11 Apologetics for joining. Since Aldine want to join, let's see what he got. And thank you for joining, and I'll reach out to you again, and we'll keep in contact. Don't forget to subscribe to 11 Apologetics. I'll share the link on the chat. Subscribe to him. He
All
has
right.
some more.
Thank you, Rick.
Take care, brother.
Mm.
See.
So just to be clear, who's interacting with Aladdin? Because I wanted him to come up because he made a confrontation I had with him about Jesus on the cross.
Come on.
So
Now let's see if
the
he
only,
comes.
yeah, let's
Okay,
figure this out.
then Dawa, floor is yours. What you have to say?
Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, Ray, I'm not here to disrespect you. I don't mean to disrespect you, but saying that you have no knowledge, you are so ignorant about Islam and the history of Islam, I was not insulting you. That's fact that you do not want to accept. In fact, you post one video in your channel, and I commented twice under. Then after a few minutes, you deleted and you removed the video, which I still have a copy of it with me. I have, but I will never post it online. So, with all the respect to you, Mr. Ray, When I say that you have no knowledge, I'm not disrespecting you in any way. I'm talking about the fact that you should know. And when I say at your age, with all due respect to your age, you should know better than this. And honestly, with all due respect to you, I see Johnny, who's under 18 years old, which I didn't know that he's under 18 years old. He has more knowledge about Islam than you are. And I don't mean
Stop,
to be disrespectful to
Aldin. Aldin.
be
Stop.
disrespectful.
Stop bringing the ad hominems. Make your case. Tell
No,
us
no,
why.
okay, no,
And
there's
follow.
no.
Can we talk about Jesus?
Actually, I wanted to talk with 11 and his presentation, but you removed them. Because usually I join you and I talk with the host and his presentation. But unfortunately, you moved. I didn't come here because Johnny told me to come. No, no, no. I'm here because I wanted to talk to your guest. But unfortunately, I was surprised that you removed them from the stage. So there is no need for me to be here. Okay?
Can I
No
answer
need for
your
me to be here.
question about
No,
Jesus
no, no,
then?
no, 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 no. When you are, I didn't know that you are. I don't know me to be disrespectful to you, Johnny. When you are above 18, this coming Wednesday, we can talk. You are still underage. I didn't know that. Okay, and I thought that you quit YouTube. That's what you said in your last video. So what are you doing
No,
here?
I didn't. I didn't
Yeah,
say I quit YouTube.
yes,
I
you
said I was
did.
taking a break. Did
Oh
you
boy.
watch the video?
He's
So,
laughing.
so
You see?
just to clarify, what I actually said in the video was that things are going on in real life, and so 11 said he can join back. By the way, so if you guys need me to like drop for a
Although,
second, that's
Johnny, I
fine. But
agree with you. I agree with you, and the decision that you took at your age, I swear by Allah, it is the best decision that you have done in your life when you were online. Wallahi, I swear by Allah, you have done and you have taken a very, 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 very well and good decision. So if I were you, stay away for a while. Go and study from your father. You said that your father is a pastor. May God bless him to you. Learn. Ask him to teach you. Arm yourself with knowledge, more knowledge, then come back. That's my advice for you,
that's the
honestly.
plan.
And I respect you. And I respect you for saying that you'll go away because you admit and acknowledge at the end that you don't have enough knowledge to engage with them or to talk about some topics. So you need to have more knowledge and education. And that's very good for you at your age. I admire you for saying that, honestly. Honestly, wallahi, I admire you for doing this step. It's a very good step. Good luck. Honestly, good luck.
Thank you.
And I say
I
this
don't
from
believe it. I don't.
heart, wallahi,
Sorry, go ahead.
from the bottom of my heart. I'm saying that to you.
Okay,
That's
thank you. Just so, is Brother 11 going to come up? Because if we're not talking about what you said about Jesus and the cross, then I'm willing to just
Oh,
move back.
Johnny,
Because
Johnny. You know why I mentioned that? Because you said that I disrespect him, and he said that yes, I am disrespectful. So I was from like a type of joking. So I was asking him, who disrespects? Who was most? I mean, who was more respectful? The way I deal with Ray, or the way you treated your God and Savior on the cross in the name of love? You disrespect him and you killed him with all the respect. Do you know what's happened to him? In the name of love. So who respect one another more? Did I respect Ray more, or did you respect your Jesus more the way you treated him on the cross? So I was trying to tell you that I respected Ray more than the way you respected your Jesus and Savior on the cross.
No
You have done
problem.
him in
Are
the
you
name of
so
and
are you
nothing
saying
else.
that? Are you saying that? Are you saying that disrespecting someone in the place of another is harm and evil and
Excuse me.
disrespectful?
No, no, no. Say, do you consider what happened to Jesus on the cross respect or disrespect?
No, I just going with it. Do you
No,
do?
no,
do
no.
you,
No, I'm asking you. Please answer me. Do you
do
consider
you
what happened to
okay,
Jesus?
no problem. So are you saying that that's? Are you saying that
I
it's
want to talk to Ray.
disrespectful?
I want to talk to Ray. Why Ray is quiet? Actually, you know,
Okay, hold on, hold on. Are
I'll
you
tell you something.
saying that it's
Ray
disrespectful?
made several videos about me in his channel, and he mentioned me so many times in his channel. He uploads so many videos about me, and he
Nice,
uploaded even video about you in person, you in person, and the way
nice.
you treated him when he was here. Then he deleted the video. Honestly, so I want to talk to Ray. I'm here to speak with Ray. He cannot remove me from his head. He cannot move on. You go to his channel and look how many videos he made, short videos and long videos about me after our discussion in your channel. So therefore, I joined you here.
Okay, it looks like he's not interested. So what I would say is that Alden,
Well,
I know,
there's nothing else to
but
talk about. There's nothing else to talk about. If he's not interested, and 11 is not here, so there is nothing else to talk about.
11 is gonna join if you still want to
Ask
talk.
you one question and you refuse to answer it. Please, I'm asking you with all love and respect. Who is more respectful? Was it me treating Ray and calling him Mr. Ray, or the way you treated your God on the cross? What happened to Jesus on the cross? Was it a sign of respect or disrespect?
I will say that I want to back down. I will
Well, then,
say that
no,
I will say the way you treated Ray is disrespectful. Have it
no, no,
out.
no. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm telling you what happened to Jesus on the cross. Was it respectful or disrespectful?
Can can I just answer this and then 11 is
No, no.
backstage?
Can you please let him answer it, John? Please. I'm asking him. Please. Then you can answer it.
No, brother, I'm
I
not the
want-
judge. I'm saying that
No, no, no. He's running away from the question. Please answer the
I'm
question.
running away from the question.
Answer the question, please.
Yeah, it's respectful. Now refute me.
So you mean spit up at Jesus, beat up Jesus to death, humiliate him, be naked, blah blah blah, and all those things happen to Christ, to Christ on the cross. If
Okay.
I will do this, if I'll do this to you or to Ray, will you consider this as a sign of respect from me or this? I will treat you.
Notice what he's doing. Notice what he's trying to use these.
Please answer.
No, no,
Let me
no.
make my
Hold on.
point.
Hold on.
Don't run
Wait.
away.
Can you show me? Now, the question I would ask is that did Jesus did all of these things on our behalf out of his will, or Jesus stepped down his throne in his glory to do
We
this
spoke
out
about this
of love? Hey,
already.
can you let me finish out then?
Yeah,
Out
I know
of
where you're
love,
going. We spoke about this already, and Johnny
brother,
spoke about this with me.
brother,
And
can you let me speak? Jesus did all of this out of love so that we can be made reconciled back to God. It's like a court of law. We broke the law. We have to pay for our fine. We cannot pay our fine. Jesus paid it all and paid the fine for us so that we can be made free. And you tell me that's not love? There you go.
you
Okay.
see, I asked you a simple question, then you are starting talking about Jesus. That was not my question. This topic we spoke about several times in the past, and I have the video on my channel uploaded, and you have it in your channel.
11
And
is here. Do you want to
let me
still
finish,
you
please.
still on dialogue?
I did not cut you off. Please let me finish.
11 is in backstage. So what do you want to do? You want to still conversation?
Can I finish, please? Don't speak over me, as I did not
Oh
speak
boy.
over you. Answer my question. If I will treat you and treat Ray the same way you treated Jesus on the cross, will you consider this as a respect or disrespect from me toward you?
Well, you have to show me out of if Ray wanted to be spit on, if Ray wanted to be beaten on, if Ray wanted to die on the cross, you have to ask Ray if that is his will or did he do that out of his own will.
You see, you are running
Notice,
away.
notice he's laughing. Notice he's laughing. You know
Because
why?
you're running away
He
from the
cannot,
question.
he cannot go to the Bible to because Jesus says
No, no,
in
no. I'm not going to the BC. I was not
Jonathan,
talking about the
let me
Bible.
finish, please. Jesus says in John 10:17 to 18, he says, I take down my life in my own accord. I take it down and lay it back again. And Jesus says in John chapter 2, verse 19-22, tear down this temple in 3 days, I will raise it up again. Use the scripture, the Bible, to prove your case. Don't try to use the example of a human being because God is unlike anything in creation that confirms with your Quran. So why are you comparing Jesus with human beings?
You see, what you are talking about is not my question, which I answered in the past. Was
What?
just and now you are speaking over me. You see, I
Bro,
muted
Okay,
myself.
okay, okay,
Myself.
okay, guys, let's buy.
You see, now
11
he
is
will.
backstage.
Can I speak?
Aladdin said he
11
wants
is
to have
backstage.
a
Can I speak,
place.
please? Can I continue?
Hold
Can I
on,
No,
answer?
no.
you
11 is
No, no,
hold
backstage.
I
on,
have
hold
to
on,
answer him
hold
first.
on,
I have to
Aladdin,
answer him first. I
11
have
is
to.
backstage.
hold
She
on,
wants
Aladdin, hold on. Your purpose for coming is we thought you wanted to have a discussion with um Johnny, but when you came back and when you came on stage, you said you want to ask a question with. I mean, you want to have a dialogue with 11. So 11 is back. Dude is
He
out.
left.
Yeah, he
Tay
left.
Tay is backstage.
How
We can see
Let's see
what
if
Tay
he's
wants.
Tay's
That
okay. You can bring Tay on to see.
that might be the person from the live chat, Tawheed Islam one. I'm not sure. Tay, you're on stage.
No.
Hello.
Hi, good morning to all.
Yeah.
Happy Saturday.
Okay.
Um,
You want to speak with 11 Apologetics? Do you want to speak with him?
I'm sorry.
Would you like to speak to 11 Apologetics in the backstage?
Mm, I don't know who that is.
He was doing a presentation. I'm not sure if you heard.
No, no, I didn't hear his presentation, so probably I'm not the best person to talk to him. If there's anyone who wants to talk to him, I
Okay.
just saw your the title of your what's it called, chat or video and or live stream, and it's regarding the oral memorization, I guess, memorization of any text, or in particular, you're probably focusing on the Quran, right? Um, I'm not sure how much of the history of the preservation of the Quran um you guys understand or know. So maybe I don't know if I say something that you already know, maybe you should stop me. But I would like to say that the Quran was given to one person, which is Prophet Muhammad. The Torah was given to Moses, or parts of it was
Yeah.
given to Moses. Exactly.
Okay. Can I stop you there?
Um,
Can I
yes,
stop
go
you
ahead.
there?
Go ahead.
You said that the Torah was given to Moses, correct?
I said parts of it. I guess some parts of it was given to Moses.
Okay. What parts that was given to Moses?
Well, I said what I said. I guess I don't know, so
What
that's
part?
why I said I guess. So
Okay.
my
So
understanding is some parts of the Torah was given to Moses,
yeah,
and
no
some parts
problem.
were given to other prophets, like I think Ezekiel or Daniel or this or that, right? So I think the first five books were given to Moses, maybe. I'm not
Yeah, no
sure,
problem. Yeah, I
right?
got you. So now the question is, can you show me in the Quran where the Torah was given to Moses?
No, no. Let me actually. There is, I think, there's a verse, but let me finish with how the Quran is preserved, or was is preserved, and then
Okay,
we'll go to
sorry,
that.
sorry to cut you off. Oh, you're in the front, Johnny in the front. Okay,
Oh,
what I would do is, Brother Ray, can you be on the backstage for now to let 11 Apologetics speak to Tay on this matter? Because that was his presentation, if that's all right. Okay, appreciate it. I'm not sure if 11 is still on. Okay, good. So he's the one that you should speak to, 11 Apologetics. All right, so go ahead, Tay.
Okay, so if I say something that, if you could let me finish my narrative, and then you can probably counter if you would like, 11. So the Quran was
Can
given to Prophet Muhammad on a span of 23 years, just to one person. During that 23 years, he had scribes who, whenever he had received a revelation, they would write down the exact words, word by word, from what was revealed to him at the time, and he then the scribes would read back what they wrote to Prophet Muhammad, and then he would confirm that they wrote exactly what he had received. The main scribe was what's his name, Zayd ibn Thabit. That was the main scribe at the time. Now, after Prophet Muhammad, now when they wrote the Quran, he didn't have like a book or something that like a binder. They didn't have that. They wrote on whatever fragments of whatever material that they had at that time, because those revelations did not come at a certain time, right? They were so random for any time of the day, right? So they would write on whatever material they would have at the time. And Zayd ibn Thabit, who was the main scribe, was always with Prophet Muhammad. Okay. Now, after Prophet Muhammad died, the first ruler, Abu Bakr, he ordered to collect all the fragments, everything, and make one library of the Quran. So that library was created just less than 1 year after Prophet Muhammad died. A complete library of the Quran. After that, 10 years later, the third ruler, Uthman, instead of having fragments and every fragmented library, he ordered to rewrite everything in one book, actually in 7 copies. He made 7 copies of the same book, right? And the common denominator between all these events is that Zayd ibn Thabit, the main scribe, was attending on all these events. So the main scribe for Prophet Muhammad was there when the library was created to make sure and ascertain that it's complete. And then at the time when they rewrote everything, that Zayd bin Thabit was there to also make sure that everything was written exactly word by word from those fragments. Now, coming to oral tradition or oral preservation, that's the other part. For the Quran to be, for someone to be considered a hafiz, or someone who has actually memorized the Quran and have and be considered as official, there is something called the ijaza. The ijaza, which means a license. And that license, that person would actually have to receive. He would be go in front of a committee, and then that committee would examine him, make sure that he had memorized everything word by word, the exact pronunciation, the exact grammar, everything. And they would give him an ijaza or a license that he's a licensed memorizer or hafiz. Okay, that ijaza actually comes from these institutions, and they would actually not just examine the person who had memorized the Quran, they would also examine the chain, the sanad, who taught him, who was his teacher, and who was his teacher's teacher. And all of these previous teachers, going back all the way to Prophet Muhammad, would have certifications or known that they have memorized the Quran properly. So we have two
All right.
methods of preservation now. We have the oral preservation and we have the written preservation. So
Can I
that's
jump?
probably something. Yes, go ahead. Who's
Okay.
this first? 11. Okay.
Right. When I started the conversation, the presentation, I highlighted the fact that the Quran, when it was initially preserved, it was preserved through 2 means. The first is through memorization or oral transmission, and the second is through written documents, written on parchments, animal bones, and all the likes. But what I just want to add, because I want to have a conversation with you and we can discuss on this
I'm
topic,
sorry.
is
I'm sorry. Can
do
you
you
speak a little slowly because I think there's something with my headphones. Can you speak a little slowly
agree?
because my headphones are probably not the greatest.
All right. So basically, what I want us to do now is have just a little conversation on the topic and just have a back and forth dialogue. Do you agree that early Muslims had to memorize the Quran through had to preserve the Quran through memorization? They were reciting it, and that's how they were preserving it. We have hadith that shows that the companions of Muhammad were teaching their students through memorization. We even have a particular hadith where Muhammad was advising Muslims to learn the Quran from some particular Sahabas. I think Abdullah ibn Masud, Ubay ibn Ka'ab, and 2 others. And he called them the best of reciters because of they've memorized it well. So do you agree that early Muslims did preserve the Quran through memorization?
I don't agree because whatever Quran was there was written documents that parchments, I said, fragments, right? Whatever source that they read on. So the main source was either Prophet Muhammad who was there, or those written documents. And whoever would memorize, they have to confirm that what they have memorized confirms and is accurate based on those fragments, right? So when you say oral memorization without any backup, that is not a completely true statement. You have to say that is oral memorization based on people who actually were there where Prophet Muhammad was there, and there's also written backup to make sure that all these guys were reading the same thing. Plus, in Islam, we have our prayers where the Quran is actually read out loud in groups. So if anyone would make a mistake that mistake would be caught immediately. Like and that happens a lot, by the way, in today's time and
Okay.
throughout the years. I'm 52 years old. I attended many prayers, and many times the imam, who's the leader, who's actually leading the prayer, would make a mistake in his recitation, and then the people behind him, they don't just stay quiet. They would actually correct him, right? So it's not like the leader has immunity from anyone correcting them. Everybody, regular Muslims can
Okay.
correct anyone.
Let me get it now.
If someone reads the Quran and says a wrong word, I have obligation to correct him. And if
Okay.
we
Let me jump.
dispute, if we are in dispute, then we go to the written text and say, okay, here it is, where it text. That's exactly. And if I'm wrong, I will admit that I'm wrong. Then I have corrected myself and I've learned something new. And if he's wrong, the imam, then he would correct himself. So there's always there's also a system of checks and balance. You know what I mean? Like checks. If people check on each other. We have written documents. We have people have memorized, and everything is checked. Go ahead.
Okay. If you check what's on the screen now, you see the hadith I was talking about when the Prophet ordered Muslims to learn the Quran through recitations. You hardly find hadiths where the Prophet instructed people to learn the Quran through what was written down. It's usually through recitation because that's how it was orally transmitted at first. Do you agree with that? You can read through the
If that hadith is correct, okay, and it is that the Prophet Muhammad had instructed to learn the Quran orally from these persons, then it's certification by the Prophet that these persons have actually memorized the Quran properly, and they are authorized. This is what I'm saying. These are authorized by the Prophet to teach. That's what I said in the beginning. There's authorization, and there is a senate. People who these people are authorized teachers by the Prophet, which means that they know the Quran word by word as it's supposed to be. This is what I
I
said,
have no
that each teacher has to be checked. Who is their teacher? And so on, all the way to Prophet Muhammad. Now you actually prove what I said, because these three people are probably the first three teachers that are authorized by the Prophet himself.
my all I'm trying to bring out is, do you agree that early Muslims had to rely on oral transmission to learn the Quran? I just need the yes or no. And I've
Yes, from authorized teachers.
all right. Now, if these three people or four, I think, which the Prophet initially handpicked for Muslims to learn the Quran, why did different variations of the Quran appear during the course of Islamic history?
Now you're talking about different variations. First of all, you have to prove the variations. How many variations are there? What are the variations? And do they change the context? And there's very important thing. Is the variation due to dialects? Not because the Quran itself is changed. Is it because of dialects? Like, for example,
Dialect does not
American
particular.
American dialect, American dialect is different from British dialect in English. So Americans may use not pronounce, maybe a write the word color, for example. Some people write it as color, and some people write it as COLOUR. Does that mean that it's a different word? No, it's just a
Again,
different way of writing the word.
dialect shouldn't cause different variations. Dialect only affect the way people pronounce particular things. We're talking of
And it
different
and it
variations when it
also
comes to different.
and it also affects how words are written. I give an example: the word color. The other word is gray, gray, or grey. Which one is gray? Which one is the word gray? There are two. They mean the same thing, just different writing. So when you have two different writings or two different pronunciations without change in the meaning, that doesn't mean it's a variation. It means it's just different dialect.
Okay. Can we have Sahih Bukhari 4987 on the screen?
Yeah. Um,
And basically, what I want to put from this hadith to Tay is I want you to read where the reason why they had to compile the Quran again for the second time under Uthman was because of the variations in reading. So they were trying to stop the way there were too many variations of the Quran. They tried to
What is the
standardize
hadith? I
the
need to bring it. I need to read the Arabic version. So what is the hadith number, please?
It's going to be displayed on the
4987.
screen now.
I'm sorry. What's the number? I don't see it on my screen. That's the thing. And my screen is different from yours.
4987. Sahih Bukhari.
497.
4987.
4987. Thank you.
Yeah.
But did you guys do we agree that do you agree 11? Do you agree that my presentation of the history of the preservation of the Quran is correct?
I have no problem with the way you depicted this. All I just, well, or the main topic of today is whether memorization was a perfect form of preserving the Quran. And that's the main thing we're actually focusing on today in this discussion.
Oh,
And I'm trying to prove it
okay.
to you that the Quran
So so
initially was,
so you don't have
the
a
Quran initially
problem
was,
with you don't
yeah?
have a problem with you don't have a problem with the fact that Huffaz or people who have memorized, they have licenses to be authorized to be teaching. They have licenses and they have they are traceable. That it's traceable to the Prophet. And the first three or four in the Hadith that you mentioned, those were the first three or four that were authorized by the Prophet. So you agree to all of that, right? Now now we want to move to different. Why there are different versions, right?
Well, if we have four, from what you're saying, if we have four companions who were
Oh, I mean,
authorized to
hold
teach,
on. That doesn't mean these are the only four, by the way. These are the
these
four
were
that
the
are mentioned in that hadith, but doesn't mean that they're only four. It's not exclusive. The hadith doesn't say learn from these
those
people only,
those
right? It's just
regarded
those
as
are
the
the
best
people who are
of
mentioned. Go ahead.
those four were regarded as the best of reciters. Abdullah ibn Masud, Ubay ibn Ka'ab, and two others. They were regarded as four of the best
Right, but
reciters, and they were
that
handpicked.
is
They doesn't
I
mean they were the
understand
only
that.
four, but they were the major. They were the major. My point, or what I'm trying to bring out is, if we can trace the Quran to start from these four, we want to try and deduce how different
Let me
variations.
just get let me bring the hadith that what's four what 4,000 what four
Are you
4987.
just try and read the
four
hadith of
nine eight
Yeah.
seven
Yeah.
4987. Okay.
and you can read it if you want.
I'm just trying to bring it up here. Okay, it's a very long hadith, so let me just read it really quick and
Yeah, if you just move closer to like to the ending, that's the main point where the Quran were ordered to be burnt.
what is it like when the ending can you it's about Uthman and he's saying to write in the tongue of Quraysh. That's what it is. 4187, right?
498.
4987. Just
Yes.
confirm this. 4987 here. 4987, correct. Yeah. So the ending of the Quran, it says that Uthman, he's the ruler at the time, he told to the three he was talking to the three, I guess it was sort of three. I didn't read the whole thing, so I'm just I guess trying to understand this. He was talking to the three, they were writing the Quran. Oh, there were three plus Zayd, there were four of them. And he said, if you have a disagreement, I guess that's the English. If you have a disagreement, and whatever in the Quran, they write it in the tongue, which means the dialect of Quraysh, which is the tribe of Prophet Muhammad, because the Quran has came down in their dialect. And so they did that, and they did 7 copies, and then Uthman gave copies to Hafsa. Hafsa is Prophet's wife, I believe, in this Is it Prophet's wife or a different Hafsa? Hold on. I think it's Prophet's wife. He gave Uthman gave the 7 copies to Hafsa, and then he kept 1 copy and he gave it to Hafsa. That's my understanding. And then the rest of the copies, it was sent to a region where Islam, a region of the Muslim state at the time, like to the east, west, north, south, etc. So they wrote the Quran in the dialect of Prophet Muhammad, which is the dialect of the Quraysh tribe, and then they sent it to the different provinces, I guess, or different regions.
All right.
But I just want to read what's the rest of it because I need to understand that.
Okay, not to waste much time. All I just want to pull out from this particular hadith is the fact that there were differences in the way Muslims were reading the Quran, and that's why they ordered for a standardized text. Do you agree with that? From basically going off just what you're reading in this particular hadith.
What I'm reading there is that
You can start
I'm
from the
sorry.
beginning.
Can you repeat your question because I was reading, so I didn't hear it. Can you please repeat your question?
I said, based off of this hadith, if we go based off what we are reading from this authentic hadith in Sahih Al-Bukhari, we found out
Yes.
that Muslims were different based on the recitations of the Quran, which means there were different variations of the Quran. That's what led
No,
to the standardization of the
no.
particular text.
You are reading the English translation, but when the Arabic translation, it says if you have a disagreement on a pronunciation, okay, write it in the tongue of Quraysh, which means the dialect. So it's not changing difference in the wording or the understanding, it's just the dialect. And dialect means, like, for example, the word in English, I say schedule, and the British say schedule.
Okay,
They don't
you said no.
pronounce the C as a K. So that's a difference in
Let's have
pronunciation,
a conversation.
right?
Let's
So
just
it
have a
means it,
conversation.
right? So this is
Say,
only, there is no difference in meaning or wording. It's a meaning in the tongue, which means the dialect.
okay, let's just have a conversation on
Do
this
you
now.
agree? Do you
You
agree
said
with this
no.
point first? Listen. I want you to
I,
concede
I
something. Do you agree with this
I
point?
don't agree with your interpretation.
I'm
No, I
sorry.
don't agree with your interpretation.
You,
There were
you do agree?
differences in the way they were reciting it because of the different Qurans they were having. Now, if you claim it was
No,
because
no.
of different,
Do you agree that hadith actually talks about the dialect?
it talks about the recitation. It's clearly written there in the English. They were
It,
different
it,
in the
it,
way they were reciting it.
but to an Arabic speaker like me, when I read the hadith, I'm an Arabic speaker. When they
Read the
say
beginning of it.
write it in that
Read the first
lisan Quraysh, it says lisan Quraysh means the dialect of Quraysh,
Okay,
not
okay,
the wording, the
okay.
dialect.
first few lines.
Can I read this hadith? I just want to
Please,
clarify.
That yes.
Do you believe that the 2 companions of Muhammad spoke the same dialect, meaning the same language?
The three companions in the hadith, they were Qurayshi, they speak the same dialect. Zayd ibn Thabit, apparently he wasn't a
Okay.
Qurayshi, he
For
wasn't from
example,
Quraysh. Hold on, let me finish. He wasn't from Quraysh, right? So he spoke a different dialect. He was still
okay,
writing, and then he was still the one who was writing, because the writing is the same thing. When you write something, you write it the same thing, but you may pronounce it differently,
okay.
right?
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the
So
companion.
when Uthman said, because this is very, very clear in the hadith that there's a 3 Qurayshi, which was the other 3 other than Zayd ibn Thabit, and he said, if you 3 Qurayshis have a disagreement with Zayd on a pronunciation, then write it in the Quraysh dialect, because that's Prophet Muhammad's dialect,
No
because he
problem.
was from Quraysh.
Okay,
So
so
that
what?
the whole hadith revolves around dialect.
Okay, I get it. What I'm saying is that the two companions, for example, this hadith I'm about to show.
There are three companions. There are four companions. What are
No,
you talking about?
no, I'm talking about in this hadith. I'm talking about.
Which hadith? A different hadith? I'm sorry, I did not. I'm not looking.
Okay,
Okay, what hadith? What
Umar
number hadith is that? What number
Sunan
hadith?
Sunan Anasai numbers 936.
Who's that? Sunan who?
Sunan Anasai.
Who's the Nasai? Now we're going to a different book. Okay.
Yes, to show you that they couldn't agree on the dialect, but I'm gonna show you. But Umar ibn
Nasai. Hold on. What's the number? What's the number for Nasai?
936.
936. See, now you're going to multiple places to try to prove your point.
No,
Okay.
because
You conceded the first point, right? Did you
no, we
concede
did
the
not.
first point?
We did not because you did not
No, you have to
understand.
concede it. You have to concede
Oh,
it because it's
well,
clearly
I'm
talking
gonna
about the dialect.
no.
You have to
Okay, I'm
concede
gonna
it.
show you that the companions was fighting each other over a dialect.
Hold on, but you
Muhammad
concede
taught
that
them.
the first hadith is talking about dialect.
No, because Uthman,
No,
if it was perfectly preserved with the manuscripts, Uthman would not have taken the other copies and burned them. Why would he burn them?
No, no, he burned them because he doesn't. He wants just one source now, and instead of having fragments.
Exactly.
That hold on, because the fragments, some of them might be stolen, some of them might be lost, whatever. He preserved them in a library, and then he wrote it down in a book. So that is actually considered very acceptable in academia.
now let me just put this in. According to the hadith I put up earlier on, Sahih Bukhari
Let me
4987,
this.
it's clearly written there
Oh,
that
what's again?
there were
Nasai. What Nasai?
differences in
You said
recitation
Nasai
of the Quran,
936.
and
I'm sorry.
that's why.
Yes.
Okay, and so you're going back to 4987.
Wait. Hold on. Before
Yes.
you let 11 was saying something. Go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying, according to the previous hadith we just left, I was saying in the first few verses, the reason they wanted to compile or go for the second compilation of the Quran was because there were differences in recitations of the Quran. It's literally written there in the hadith.
Okay,
They are trying to
let
put
me go
in
back because
words that
I
we
had to
cannot.
change screens. Hold on. Let me go back to Bukhari. I'm just trying to work on two cell phones here. I don't have a computer or laptop. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, so in the Arabic version, what does it say? حدثنا موسى, حدثنا Ibrahim. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try not to read too much Arabic. Someone was in the Levant, and he was upset, I guess, because they would change. There was changes. There were differences in their readings. Okay, that
Oh,
doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that
you just
doesn't mean. Hold on,
continue.
hold on.
You notice you
That
just so
doesn't
chicken.
mean. Hold on. That doesn't mean that it's difference in the
Okay,
words
keep reading. No
is
worries.
different,
Keep reading.
because if
If
you understand, hold on. Let me just finish something. Let me tell you something. I
Just keep
am
reading.
original. I am. Let me just finish.
Tay,
I am
Tay.
originally.
I
Hold
want
on.
you to listen. Tay, I want
Go
you to
ahead.
listen.
Go ahead.
I want you to
Go ahead.
listen.
I'll listen. Go ahead.
What you have to do, don't just stop there. Keep reading. Let's see what is Umar's reaction when he's heard
Who's
Hisham
Omar?
reading it.
Who's
Aren't you read the
Omar?
hadith? Umar is
Which
the second caliph of Muhammad.
where is hadith? Which hadith is that again? Is it Bukhari four? Because I'm looking at Bukhari 4987.
Okay. Because I told you
okay,
to read.
according to 497 that you just finished reading, do you agree that there were differences in the way they were reading the Quran, in recitation of the Quran, and that's what led
They
to
were.
the compilation?
That is a difference in the pronunciation,
You
because
just
the
you
Iraqis.
just
Let me finish. Oh my, please. I'm originally from Egypt. I speak Egyptian dialect. Okay, I do
but
read the
it's clearly
traditional
showing
Quran.
differences in
I'll finish,
recitation.
please. Excuse me, I'm sorry. If Iraqis speak Iraqi in front of me, they may pronounce the same words in the same way, in a different way. I don't wouldn't understand because of how they pronounce things. Thick accents, uh, quick pronunciations, the way they talk, etc. Right? So with their accents, with their pronunciation, with their way of using different I don't know how to say it in English, ways of pronunciation of like letter phonics, right? Different phonics, right? For certain letters. Then the Quraishi, the one who was from Quraysh, the one who was talking, he was there at Iraq, that he was kind of upset. So he wanted to make sure that these guys are actually saying things the proper way. Like I
Okay,
said, when someone in English says schedule, like I say it, I pronounce schedule as schedule. I have a coworker who's from the UK and he pronounces it differently, he pronounces schedule or something like that,
No, they
this
don't
is
right?
say.
how, no matter how you pronounce that word, it is written the same way in every English language, in every part, every region you ever go to. The
Yeah, so
particular word.
here you go. Here you
Just
go. This is
let me
goes
just
back to what you said.
let me
At
Hey,
listen.
the
Let me
time,
hey,
listen.
at
Let
the
me listen.
time, let me
hey,
finish. At
No
the time,
hey,
that's
matter, no
why.
hey,
matter the region you go
hey.
to that speaks English, it will all be written the same way. It's just the way you
Not
pronounce
necess
it.
not
My question
necessarily,
to you
not necessarily.
question to you is, if it was only the way they were pronouncing it, why did they need to burn the Qurans? If it was just, if the text was the same, they were only pronouncing it differently. There was no need to burn since the
Because
text was, there was
once,
nothing with the text.
because again, it's acceptable in academia that when you have made a correct and complete copies of a fragmented thing, you would just destroy whatever was fragmented,
Okay,
right? That's
let
very
me ask you this.
acceptable in academia.
I want you to answer me honestly. I want you to answer me honestly. Let me ask you this. If I have a storybook with me here now, if I have a storybook and I give it to someone who is in the US, he reads the storybook. Do you agree that someone in the UK will read that same storybook in a different way due to their accents?
I'm sorry, go ahead, say that again because I'm was doing something. And slow down, please. My headphones are
That's
not
a
the best.
All right. If I have a particular storybook, right, then I call
Yes,
two English speaker, one from the
yes.
United States and the other from United Kingdom, the UK, and I give the storybook to the United States man to read. Do you agree that the way he's going to read the storybook is going to be different from the way the UK person will read that same storybook because of accents?
Yeah, he will pronounce certain words differently.
Okay,
Beautiful.
Definitely.
So
Definitely they will
now,
pronounce many words
now
differently.
that's all I
It
need.
may written
Yes.
it may
Now,
be
my
written the
question to
same, but the pronunciation could be different. I gave you an example with the
okay,
word schedule.
no problem. My question to you now is, if I burn that particular storybook and standardize a particular text, how does it affect the way those two people will read it differently because of the accents?
What? Can I say that again? I'm
If
sorry,
I
say that
burn
again.
that particular storybook, if I don't like the way those two were reading it because they were reading it with different accents, then I take that particular storybook and burnt it. Then get a new one and say, like, I want you to read it this particular way. Will those two people still read it differently because of the accent?
Okay, my friend, you have to recognize something here. That at that time, before the Uthman made
Answer the
those second
analogy.
cop. Let me finish my. Come on, you're asking me a
Answer the
question.
analogy.
You're asking
Answer
me a
the
question.
no,
You
he's
have
asking
to.
you to. Oh, Tay, he's asking you a
I'm
direct.
gonna answer your question, but
I
give me.
know.
I'm
Hey,
gonna answer your
hey,
question.
answer the
okay,
analogy.
Tay.
Okay. I'm not
I
gonna
just
say anything until you finish. Go ahead.
okay. What if he's asking you a direct question? Then you could say yes or no. Then you expand why. Don't try to answer it without saying yes or no. That was
I
what
will.
you.
I will end. I was gonna say it then, but if you want me to add, as long as you give me a chance to elaborate and you just
Yeah,
don't take a yes or no as a catch-up, then go ahead.
yeah.
What
No
is the
worries.
question?
Okay. Since
Go ahead.
since we want to talk about Usman, let me rephrase the question in a Uthmanic sense, if I must say.
No, no, repeat the
If
same question, please.
all
No,
the
no, please,
Muslims
no, no, please repeat the same question. Exactly the same question. Don't rephrase it.
it's the same question. If all the Muslims were doing were just different based on the way they're reciting, what was the whole essence of him burning the particular Quran if they are still going to recite it or read it differently? What was the use of him burning it? Did you get my
You
question?
ask what's the, this is not a yes or no question, by the way. What you asked is not a yes or no question.
Yes.
What was the
Answer.
what was
What
the
was the
what
use
was
of
the yes or,
Usman
what was the yes
pounding
or
the
no
Quran?
question?
Forget about the yes or no question. Answer this question.
What? Can repeat that, please?
Forget about the
I'm
yes
having
or
a hard
no
time
and answer
hearing
this
you.
question. Let me rephrase the question again.
I wanted
If
the yes or no
all
question. Give me the yes or no question that you asked before.
the yes or no question pertaining to the previous analogy I gave,
What?
About the
you
story.
want yes or no question pertaining to the previous analogy I gave?
I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't understand what you're saying. Can you type it in the chat, because I'm probably having a problem with my headphones here.
Okay,
You know
it
what?
could be my fault, but that was a question that he was asking you based on the pertaining to if if like Uthman and all of them were speaking a different dialect, then what's the purpose of burning those fragment of manuscripts if Uthman knows that the people that's going to read the Quran is still going to have a different accent and reading it in a different way? What's the purpose of burning the fragments in the manuscripts?
No, well, burning the fragments of manuscripts has nothing to do with the accents. It's just because it's not needed anymore. It's not, they're not needed anymore because everything was confirmed, transferred to a full book, organized book. So you don't need those fragments to be stay anyway. And again, that's acceptable in academia. Once you have a
Do you
final
realize
product, you don't really have to. Once you have a final product, you don't really have to. Our complete, I want to say product, because final product means that they were previous versions. No. Once you have a complete book, there's no reason to keep those fragments, because if someone wants to and you burn them all at the same time, I mean, there's nothing would stay. Nothing would say, oh, the Quran is only 90 books or 115 books. You're missing this, you're missing that. You transferred everything at that time. Again, this happened less than 12 years or less than 15 years from Prophet Muhammad, and the main scribe was there, and it's written in the original language. And with the prophet's wife had all the
you
library.
haven't
The
get it
library
yet?
was with the prophet's wife. So everything is connected. Now, to
Okay,
answer your
you're
question
not getting the
about
question here.
to answer your question, I said no. It doesn't have to do anything with It doesn't have to do anything with difference in words. It's just different pronunciation. And the main reason, Othman, he wrote it down in the original dialect. So when it sent it to different regions, from Morocco to
You can't
Iraq
write something
to
down in the particular original
from
dialect.
Morocco to Iraq. Hold
Dialect
on.
is
From
just
Morocco to
a way
Iraq.
to
Study.
Go
pronounce a
ahead.
particular thing. You get state.
I'm
A
sorry.
accent or dialect is just a mode in which people pronounce, which
The
people.
thing, yes, but
That's just
if you write something, if you have a dialect and you attempt to write it down, and you may change a letter. For example, I'll give you an example. In English, the letter the with the th, and the z, which is a different letter. They may sound, and sometimes the s in a different in some word, like for the word laser, for example, is the s is pronounced also as a z. Now, if I say the word laser to someone who doesn't speak, doesn't know what dialect I'm using, okay, he might write it down as Lazer instead of Laser. It's the same pronunciation, but a different writing. Come next generation, they read this book, they find a different word. That's where changes in religions happen. Uthman prevented that. That's why the Quran is preserved. Everything was written down in one dialect from the get-go, right?
okay. My
So
question is,
different pronunciation wouldn't cause any future changes. I give an example, like with laser.
question to you,
I give another
my question to
example.
you
I give you
is,
another example. Hold on. I'll give you another
let me
example.
say this.
Right
our
now,
chance to answer.
let me give another example, very quick example, okay?
Let me come to the point you laid down first. My question
Very
to
quick
you is,
example that from our time here. Give me a very quick example. Shakespearean English is it the same as English today?
let me ask a clarifying question based on what you.
I just make sure that the audience understands what I'm saying. Is everybody clear on what I'm saying? Does anyone else have a question other than 11?
Let me just say this: with Uthman standardizing a particular dialect, according to you, with the other different
and it's Muhammad dialect, by the way. Yes.
Yes. Okay. The particular dialect of Muhammad, according with the other Muslims that have different dialects, still read that particular Quran differently because of their dialect.
They would just pronounce the words different. Doesn't change the meaning. That doesn't change the meaning. It would just be pronounced in a different way, which may lead in the future, 2-3 generations down the road, they might cause changes in the Quran. That's why how the Quran was preserved. You understand that?
My question to you is
because yes, go ahead.
Uthman's main purpose of standardizing a particular dialect, according to you, was because of the way they were pronouncing, right?
Because it's Muhammad's dialect. Again, it's not Osman. It's not Osman. You have to be accurate. It's not Uthman's dialect. Uthman standardized the Quran in Prophet Muhammad's dialect. You have to be very clear and accurate. It's not that he was the ruler. It wasn't like he was the ruler and he decided to use his own dialect. You know what I mean?
That's not the point I'm trying to pull out here. The point I'm trying to pull out is whether I standardize a particular dialect, if we standardize Muhammad's particular dialect, the other Muslims that were reciting the Quran differently because of dialect, won't they recite that particular Quran that Usman have already standardized differently because of their dialect?
They were reciting the same Quran, exact word by word, with a different pronunciation for some words. Do you get that? Do you get that thing? Do you get that or no?
Pronunciation, if it was just based on pronunciation, everyone will still recite it differently because of the way they speak, because of their dialects, right? Which means
the way the phonics work. For example, I'm speaking English. You're speaking English. Whoever else on this chat is speaking English. Do we all speak English in the same way?
Yeah, but we can understand.
We speak the same words, but we have different accents.
But we can understand each other. That's what we
exactly.
Okay,
so that's why because it was an issue that those dialects, they sound different. Okay. And a certain hold on. So basically, the reason. Go ahead.
Based on the text we have on the screen, we have all of us on this panel, I think, we're all English speakers. Do you agree that we are all going to read the words on the screen?
I don't see the text. Hold on. I don't see the text. Okay.
Sunan Anasai number 936.
Exactly. The English text on the screen right now. Do you agree that because of the way each and every one of us speak, we're going to pronounce each and every word differently based on our dialect, our particular accent that we all have?
Hold on a second, please. I just need to get my kids ready. Dude, Rahma need to go.
Yeah.
You don't
we
need
need to go. We need to go.
Can you see this?
Rahma.
Can you see the
just getting. Yeah, hold on.
Can you see the words projected?
Rahma, قومي يا حبيبتي. يلا, we need to go right now.
Can you see the words projected?
Okay, get up. Russell. Hurry up. I'm gonna go. Let's go. Okay, get up.
Yeah, are you there?
Ready? Okay. I just have an appointment I need to go to. Yeah, go ahead. I'm just gonna try to finish this really quick with you guys. What is it? Okay, 936, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what about this one?
Take it away.
My question, hey, are you there?
Yes.
My question to you is based on just going based of what the text on the screen says. Do you agree that
Yeah.
according to every single one, because we're all English speakers here, every single one of us is going to read those that or going to pronounce that those particular words differently based on our accents, right?
Hold on. So this is 939. What's the number? 936 Sunan Nasa'i, right?
Yes.
So this actually proves what I said. This is the proof that there are checks on everything, checks and balances. Everything is checked, right? So this guy has said read something. He made a mistake in the Quran. The other guy told him, no, this is wrong. They
That's not
both went to the source. Hold on. They both went to the source, and he approved which one it is. So there was some checks. Not everybody just reading whatever.
okay.
They were
I'm gonna
checking
read
each
it.
other.
I'm gonna read it. Let's see
This
what.
exactly proves what I said.
Tay,
And I'm
Tay,
reading the Arabic, by the way. I'm reading the Arabic.
no, Tay. I'm gonna read it to see
Yes.
if you actually said what you said.
Don't need the Arabic. Exactly. We don't need the Arabic. All we need is just the English. I just want to
Oh,
prove a point that based on our accent, we are
You don't
going
want to
to
go to
read.
the Arabic, which is the original, right? Go ahead. Read the
It's not
English.
showing the conversation. I'm trying to
oh,
bring an example that based on the English text we have there, each and every single one of us will pronounce things differently. I'm trying to pull out the accent arguments that whether we have this, if we have the same text, everyone will still pronounce things differently based on their dialect. So Uthman standardizing one particular Quran solve no issue because each and every single Muslim we still pronounce
Yeah,
the
hold, slow
Quran
down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down, please. Please slow down a little bit. Talk calmly, talk slowly. I'm a slow person. I understand I'm a slow person, okay? Please talk to me like a 6-year-old.
All right. I'll go again very slowly. And I just want you to track clearly. We have a particular English text on the screen. And I'm claiming that based on the particular English text, every single one of us, because of the different way we speak English, we're going to pronounce those words differently, which is the dialect issue we're trying to bring out from the Quran, right?
Oh,
Now,
okay.
my point is, Uthman standardizing a particular Quran solve no problem because every single Muslim will still recite the Quran based on their dialect because that's
Right. And
just
if you
how
open if you open any Quran anywhere
Tay,
in the
allow
world, it should be
Tay,
the same.
Tay. You need to allow him to speak.
Yes, go
Because
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you get what I'm trying to say, T. Do you get the point I'm trying to pull out from here?
Yeah, what
Now,
936? What about 936?
yeah, let me read it and for everyone, and let's see what he actually says. It was
Uh,
narrated from Ibn Makama that Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I heard Hisham bin Hakim bin Hizam reciting Surah Al-Furqan, that's Surah 25, in a way that the Prophet of Allah had not taught me. I said, who taught you this surah? He said, the Messenger of Allah. I said, you are lying. The Messenger of Allah did not teach you like that. I took him by the hand and brought him to the Messenger of Allah and said, O Messenger of Allah, you taught me Surah Al-Furqan, but I heard this man reciting it in a way that you did not teach me. The Messenger of Allah said, recite, O Hisham. So he recited it as he had recited it before. The Messenger of Allah said, it was revealed like this. Then he said, recite, O Umar. So I recited it and he said, it was revealed like this. Then the Messenger of Allah said, the Quran was revealed to be recited in 7 different modes. Now you see the confusion between the two?
what?
That Umar ibn al-Khattab and Hisham was reciting the Quran in a way that Muhammad did not taught him. And
Okay.
he gripped him by the hand and he said, I'm confused by what I've heard Hisham recite this Quran in a way that I did not learn from you. Muhammad said, recite. He recited it. He told Umar, recite. He said, yes, it was to be recited in this way. So one of them did not make any mistakes. Muhammad confirmed both of them as reciting the Quran. Correct?
Okay, two things. A, that hadith doesn't mean that there's different words. That there is not is show me in the hadith that the surah that two guys were reading different words.
Okay, let me answer
Okay,
this
that's
question.
A. B, hold on. B, there's nowhere, and I don't know who this Omar was Quraishi, I know. I don't know who the other guy, Hisham ibn Hakim. I don't know if he was Quraishi from the tribe of the Prophet or from a different tribe or from a different region. I don't know who that is. Okay. C, the third thing is that is not Sunan Nisa'i. I don't know. I haven't read Sunan Nisa'i. I don't know how accurate they are. Okay. I don't know how accurate they are. I know that Bukhari and Muslim are the most accurate. If this is not in Bukhari or Muslim, then maybe it's not correct. Who knows?
It's Sahih, by the way.
You say it's, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it's not in
Showing you.
Bukhari or Muslim, I would take it with a grain of salt,
Okay, good,
honestly,
good.
as a Muslim.
I'm showing you it's Sahih. So,
I could make a book and name it Sahih. I could make a book.
okay, let me ask you this. What is
I don't see
Sahih?
this guy wants to be honest with his sources.
Yeah, I was just showing him that both of them learned from Muhammad. Yes, if you wanna say both of them, they spoke the same Quraysh dialect. So it's not really a something that's surprising because both of them learned from Muhammad and both of them were companions of Muhammad. So if both of them were companions of Muhammad, they should not be confused about the surah that they're reading, especially reciting it by Muhammad. So
That doesn't say that there's any confusion. That doesn't say that there's any. Well, there was a disagreement, right? But
okay,
that doesn't
no, let
mean
me ask you this.
that doesn't say that it was different words. That's what I'm saying. It
Okay,
doesn't
why?
mean that it was different wording.
Okay, why did Umar
And
go?
again, did you hear me about if this is not in Bukhari or Muslim, I would take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, then just the last one before we can move on to
I
Christian
actually
Paul.
need to go actually because I have an appointment. I could come again later on. I don't know if you guys gonna be on. I'll be back after I could be available after a couple hours. But I need honestly, I need to go. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that I had benefited you from for any way, shape, or form. Thank you so much.
All right, it was a good conversation.
Bye now.
Okay, it was a long, intense conversation. Aladdin, if you want to join, uh, if you as long as you want to deal with the topic, but we're almost done. If you still want to join, but okay, so what we was getting at, and 11, you could elaborate more to the audience. What were you trying to prove to the audience? Why some Muslims couldn't really understand? You could elaborate, especially on Uthman, and then to the other hadith.
All right. Basically, all I was just trying to prove on the text was that it's the reason why Uthman would order for the Quran to be burnt was because there were different Qurans. If it was just based on the way people were reciting, him standardizing a particular text changes nothing because people still recite it different ways. That's how accents work. You can burn different readings, but you can't burn people accents. People will still decide to read different ways. No matter if you have a particular storybook, going back to my storybook example, and you bring different English speakers from Australia, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from the UK, from anywhere in the world, every single one of those people will read that storybook differently, not particularly differently, but will pronounce words differently because of their particular accents. Changing the particular storybook doesn't change anything because people will still recite things differently based on their accents. So if all Uthman was doing was just trying to standardize a particular dialect, it wasn't still going to be successful because people with different dialects will still read the Quran according to their dialects. Their dialects will change nothing. And that's basically what I was trying to prove to him that I wasn't
Yeah.
getting. For Uthman to order the Quran to be burnt, it clearly means that There were different readings. That's the only way the Quran will be burnt, and it makes sense for him to burn the Quran. And from the Sahih al-Bukhari that we just read, it clearly said that the reason why they wanted to standardize a particular Quran was because there were difference, or there are variance in reading, which goes back to the oral transmission we were talking about. The memorization method in which they used in preserving the Quran was faulty, and that's what led to different variations in readings, and that's what led to different Qurans, and they needed to standardize a particular text. That's all about the Uthmanic section.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I would say, Alden, we don't mind bringing you on, but if you're gonna come and belittle, bully, insult, we're not going to tolerate that. Okay, we're just warning you now. But Christian Apologetics, you could take the floor.
I really cannot understand. Why is it when I ask them a questions and they cannot answer, you consider me belittling them? I never disrespect. I ask questions in the topic. So if they cannot answer the question, so it doesn't mean that I belittle them. So please, you don't need to tell me every time be respectful.
Yeah.
By saying that, disrespect me. So show respect when you talk to me, okay?
If you having a
Respect
conversation,
when you speak to me, please. Okay, I'm talking to you in a nice way. Can I speak to Mr. 11, please?
wait, before that, I will tell you this.
You don't tell me what to say or what to do, please. I'm not your student or your baby to babysitter me, please, okay? Can I talk to 11, please? I joined to speak to him. Please.
Okay, then speak. If you try to belittle, I'm gonna jump in. I'll let you know for now. So go ahead.
If you consider him can't answer the question is a belittle, when I try to prove that he doesn't have enough knowledge, so it's up to you. That's already your misunderstanding, not me. Now, Mr. 11, you just said several times that Uthman burned the Quran. Am I correct? Mr. 11, I'm
Yes, I
asking
did.
you. You said, so you agree that Uthman burned the Holy Quran, right?
I just answered.
Okay, you said, okay. You see, this is one of your things that you cannot understand, which shows that you don't have enough knowledge about Islam. Uthman never burned the Quran, because there is a difference between Quran and Mus'haf. You know what is the difference between Masahif and Quran? I doubt, because if you know, you will not say that Uthman burned the Quran. Quran is the literal words of Allah that cannot be burned. What Uthman burned was the materials that they use, which we call Masahif, and they write the Holy Quran on it. So what was burned is Mus'haf, Masahif, not Quran. So this is one thing for you. So did you learn something here now? I corrected you. Do you agree with me?
Now we have Sahih Bukhari 4987 on the screen.
I'm asking you, do you agree that he burned the Masahif, not the Quran?
We're going to answer your question. I just wanted to read the hadiths and see whether I'm doing misquoting what
I wrote.
Uthman did.
I have all hadith that you quote. By the way, I opened them in front of me in the Explorer. I will come to them one by one.
Read the final verses. The final.
Let's finish from the first point. Let's end up with the first point, please. One at a time. One at a time. Not all of them together. One at a time. Now the first point. Now the first point. You agree with me that what was burned is Masahif, not Quran, as I said. Yes or no?
Can we have Sahih Bukhari 497? Okay.
Will you
Now,
please answer
if you read,
I'm asking you respectfully. Do you agree with what I say?
Aladdin, read the highlighted.
I cannot. You see, I cannot see what's on the screen. I am not as young as you. I am very old, and my eyesight is I'm not very good, and I cannot see what's written. Don't interrupt me like you're always saying Aladdin, Aladdin. I'm talking with your guest. Please let me continue with him. Don't interrupt us, please.
But you're on our stage.
You are not allowing him to speak. Let him speak. You've made your point. Let him speak.
I asked him a question. So will he please answer the question? Will he be kind enough? He's telling me, read the hadith, read the hadith. That's not.
You have him. Calm down. You ask him the question.
Calm down. I'm very
Hold on, Aladdin. Calm down. Take a chill pill, please. You asked him the question.
Calm down. Stop,
and he's giving you a response. Hold on, Aladdin. And he's giving you a response based on the hadith. And he asks you to read the later part of the hadith. You said you cannot read because the words are too tiny. then allow him to read that part for you so you can listen and then you can continue. Please,
No.
11.
Tell me which hadith, because you just, I'll make it easy for you. Can you please post the link for the hadith in a private chat? Then I'll click on it. Then I will open it. Explorer will open it to be very big, and I can read it. How about that? Okay.
You just
How
said
about
you have the hadith. You just said you have the hadith in front of you.
No. Can you please do that? Just post the link in the private chat. I will click on it. Then I will open it. Then I will read it. But before he read the hadith, will you please ask him to answer my question, please?
Now let me
Your
answer a question
question,
through the later part of the hadith. Please. Are you ready? It says, Uthman sent to every Muslim province one copy of what they had copied and ordered that all other Quranic materials, whether written in fragments, manuscripts, or whole copies, be burnt. All copies of Quranic materials, are they not Qurans?
Very good. So the hadith said the Quran materials manuscript. It doesn't say the Quran. Okay.
It's a
So that
copy.
was I was trying to tell you. What was burned is the manuscript. We call it in Arabic masahif, not the literal words of Allah, which is the Quran. So the hadith agree with me, not with you.
It's that
Thank you
whole
very-
copies. It's that whole copies. You missed that one.
No, I don't know who I'm talking to now. There is another person who jumped. I'm
Go
talking
ahead.
to
Go
Levan.
ahead. Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
jump.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Evan.
I thought he's talking to me. So I can't concentrate with one, but if all of you want to talk to me, tell me. One at a time, please.
Let's just have a conversation here. According to the hadith, does it say all copies of the Quran to be burnt?
Will you please, to the last time, ask you, the moderator, can you post the link in a private chat so I will open it and I will read the hadith?
I
Please.
posted a long time ago. Like, look at the private chat.
Let me click on it, please. Let me click on it. I saw it now, please.
All right.
Okay, so what's your problem with the hadith? Which you spoke with a
Read
while
it.
ago. By the way, you spoke. لحظة شوي. Let me speak. Let me speak, please. Where you spoke with the brother about a while ago, and the brother actually answered you, right? So what is your problem again? You want me to repeat the same answer that the brother gave you, or what?
Read the last part of the hadith. You just read.
So what do you want me to read? You just tell me where to start from. I will read it. Don't worry. Don't tell me the last part. What is the last part?
The last sentence where it says, Uthman sent to every Muslim province one copy of what they had copied and ordered that all other Quranic materials, whether
So what
written
is
in
your point?
fragments.
So what is your point? What is your point? What are you trying to prove without reading?
My
What
point-
are you trying
my
to
point-
prove?
My point is, copies of the Quran, be it fragments or whole copies, were burnt, which goes with my point that when I said Quran
See, you
were
are
burnt.
not reading the complete hadith. You read text out of context. Read. Uthman returned the original manuscripts to Hafsa. Uthman sent every Muslim province one copy of what they had copied. So what they burned was the manuscript, the masahif, and he kept one manuscript which is in the tongue of Prophet Muhammad, which is the tongue of Bani Quraysh, Lisan Bani Quraysh. You understand? So what was burned is masahif. In the Arabic right side says mushaf. In the left English side says manuscripts. So what I'm telling you, what was burned is manuscripts, not Quran. You understand?
Aladdin,
Do you know what is the
do
difference?
you know
I
what?
will ask you a question.
Do you know?
Let me finish.
Do you know what is meant by manuscript?
Let me finish. Do you know what is the difference between Mus'haf
Do
and
you know what is
Quran?
meant by manuscript?
Teach me.
You said the Quran was
Teach
not
me.
burnt, but manuscript of the Quran was burnt. Do you know what it means to burn a manuscript? Do you know what a manuscript
What
is?
is the difference between Mus'haf and Quran? I want you to answer me, please. What is the difference between Mus'haf and Quran? Please teach me. Teach me. What is the difference between Quran and Mus'haf? Please answer me. I'll mute myself.
Why you jumping
Answer
from
me.
one topic to another? Why jumping from one topic to another? Do you agree
It
that
is the
Qurans were
same
burnt?
topic.
Is
The
that
hadith in front of you. I'm not avoiding. I'm reading the same hadith. The same hadith said Mus'haf and Quran. Said Masahif and Quran. So I'm asking you in this hadith that you quote, what is the difference between Masahif and Quran? Please. The same
okay?
hadith
Aladdin,
that
let me just say this. When you came up, you said you wanted to talk to me about a claim I made, whether the Quran, when I said the Quran were burnt, Qurans were burnt. And to prove my point, I brought out this idea to show you that Qurans were burnt. Now, what is the issue you have with my claim from this hadith? Does it clearly say all copies of Quranic materials were burnt, the manuscripts of Qurans were burnt, or does it not say? And was my claim valid or not?
I insist in you answering my question again. What is the difference between Masahif and Quran that was mentioned in the hadith? Can you please tell me? I insist on this question. I want to hear your answer, please.
Maybe he is not willing to engage with my topic.
To the last time, if you will not answer, we'll jump to the next topic. That means you failed to answer the question. I'm asking you respectfully, with all due respect.
Christian apologetics. Probably you speak with him.
Please don't speak over me. I did not. I mute myself when you speak. That's what I do.
Aladdin.
No,
Aladdin.
let me talk to him, please. Don't Aladdin me. It's my turn to speak. Please don't interrupt me. I'm asking him a very simple question. Love and respect. Will you please be kind enough to tell him to answer my question? He quote the hadith and I opened the hadith. The hadith mentioned Masahif and Quran. So what is the difference between Mus'haf and Quran according to the hadith? Please, that you quote. Answer the question. If you don't know, say I do not know. So we'll jump to the next topic.
Mushaf, I mean, you are the one that is quoting.
I'm not asking you, please. I'm asking Mr. 11, who is your guest and who is discussing with me. Are you jumping to save him? You're jumping. If he doesn't know the answer, tell me he doesn't know and you are here to help him. My question is for him.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Aladdin, you see, what I deduce is your question is irrelevant to the discussion, because whether it's a manuscript, which you call Mushaf, or a whole Quran, which is still also a Mushaf, the Quran you have in your bedroom or in your sitting room is a Mushaf, is a manuscript, because probably when we have probably in 2 centuries to come, if that manuscript, if that Quran you still have is still in existence, it's still in existence, it will be called a manuscript. Why? Because it's a whole Quranic manuscript. Even if it's just a pair of that Quran you have in your bedroom that is still in existence, it is still called a mushaf, a single manuscript. It's a fragment of the Quranic manuscript you have in your bedroom. So every manuscript, every Quran is called mushaf. Even a holding day book is called a mushaf. So now it now depends on, is that mushaf a whole mushaf or is it a fragment mushaf? Now, according to this hadith we have, it says that Uthman ordered the burning of a whole mushaf and also a fragment mushaf. So you are only using language to disturb 11 because he is not versed in Arabic. I am not versed in Arabic, but because I've studied this, I've studied the scholarly work done on the 6 earliest manuscripts of the Quran by Dr. Akmaluddin and a lot of them. The title is Al-Mushaf Al-Sharif. Mushaf means manuscript. So it has nothing to do with the discourse. Uthman burnt the Quran, whether a Mushaf Quran, whether a fragmentary Mushaf or a whole Mushaf, whatever, it burnt them down. That's the problem. So if you are not okay with the response, then probably if we still have time, we can.
You see, very good. You spoke for a long time. I did not speak over you or interrupt you. So you proved to me that your guest doesn't know the answer. He lacked knowledge about the topic, and you jumped to save them, and you saved him. Okay? Now, this hadith that you quote actually is an evidence that Torah and Injil is corrupted, because the hadith itself says they start reading the Holy Quran and they might become like the Christian and Jew who corrupted their books by different recitations. It's there. So using this hadith, you are telling me, thank you very much, that you agree with the Prophet Muhammad when he said that the Torah and the Injil is corrupted. But this part of the hadith, you do not like it because it doesn't suit your needs. So I'm done with this hadith. Now let's jump to the next point. Next point, that this point he failed to answer, so we'll jump to the next point. He started talking about variations. Now let's jump to the variations of the Holy Quran. Mr. 11, can you hear me, please? Mr. 11, can you hear me, please? Or you are not interested to have a discussion with me anymore?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me, please. So you were talking about the variation of the Holy Quran. Am I correct? Am I correct?
Yes.
And and you
You
claim that
agree with that?
they are variation in the Holy Quran, and I agree with you. And this topic, I spoke with them about so many times. They know that I spoke about this topic so many times with them. Now, my question for you: you sound as an expert in the variations of the Holy Quran. Can you tell me what are the type of the variations between the seven modes of the Holy Quran according to the Quran itself? Because we have different types of variations based on the Quran. So can you tell me what are those types and how many are they, please? And
I
listen
can tell you, but like my point is, what are you trying to bring out of this? I'm confused. Are you acknowledging that there are variations in the Quran?
I told you, yes, I acknowledge. Now I'm asking you, if I do not acknowledge, I will not ask you what are the type of the variation in the seven
Okay,
modes of the Holy Quran according to the
okay,
Holy Quran. We have type. What
if,
are they and how many are they? Please tell me.
okay, if you acknowledge that there are variations, what is the issue again?
Do you understand my English? I'm sorry, English is my third language. Do you understand my English?
I understand you. I'm saying if you acknowledge that there are
Can you,
variations in the
can you
Quran,
repeat?
on the
Can you
Quran,
repeat my question,
what
please? Can you repeat my question, please?
are you listening to me?
It's not gonna get anywhere. Just to let you know. Christian Apologetics, you could take the floor.
I'm still waiting for the answer, please. Can he repeat my question and the answer, please?
Again, I'm asking you if you
Don't put me
acknowledge
on the
that there are
spot.
variations.
Put me on the
What
spot. Why you
other
put
issue
me
are you
on
having on the topic? Huh?
Why they put me on the
Hello.
screen? I'm on the spot. The whole screen is me. Why
Yeah,
is that?
yeah. Aladdin, Aladdin. Yeah. Let's 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 call it a day. It's been a while we've been here, so we would love to have you in, probably next week if by God's grace, if you will be on. So it's been 2 hours now.
No, no,
Let us
please.
have
We are not yet done. Can he answer my question, please? We are not yet
What
started.
how many
to close. Let me let me
variations?
let me answer the question.
It's never,
Let me answer
no,
the
no, no,
question
not you.
because this
Why you
discussion
are not allowing the guest
is
to
not
answer?
going
Let him
anywhere.
answer, please. Let him answer
Let me
me,
answer the
please.
question,
No, no,
then you
no.
can just
Let
go.
him answer, please. The question is
Whether he
for him.
answers or I answer is still the
Please,
same.
no, 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 because you told me to come and talk to your guest, and I accepted your invitation, and I'm talking to him. So my question is to him. He claimed to be an expert in the variation of the Holy Quran, which I accept. We have variation. I agree with him. I do not disagree. Now, my question for him: how many types of variations do we have in the seven moods, and what are they? Please.
Okay,
That's very simple.
Aladdin, Aladdin, the variations, whether I answer or he answers, doesn't really matter. But this is what I'm going to say to you: the variations doesn't doesn't solve any problem. We know where we are going with this. Your stance is still on the same stance of Dr. Shabi Ali. We know we are going with it. But what I want to say to you is that come next week, by the grace of God, let us have this discussion. Probably we'll have enough time with you. Okay. So
Can I say something before I
let
go?
me.
Thank you very much for having me. No, no, you
Yes,
want
you
me
can say
to.
something.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me with you. I appreciate that. But please, please, to the host of the channel, please, I'm begging you, bring us some people of knowledge who they have real knowledge to discuss with. Don't bring us some people who speak about things that they have no idea about. And when you corner them, you will say that you are belittling them. I never belittle them. I don't disrespect them. I only put them where they belong to show them they don't have enough knowledge. They claim to have a knowledge. I'm waiting for Hatun and for what's his name, the other one, man, to come. And I will be more than glad to discuss with them in your channel. So to your guest 11, thank you very much for discussing with me. Please educate yourself about Islam from the right sources. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Peace be with everyone.
Okay, this is it. I will say this, that if he's gonna use the same courtesy, then he should use that with when it comes to the Bible. He should educate himself. But if not, then he have no ground to talk about the Bible as well. That's just a lot of double standard. So thank you again, 11, for joining. Even though it was heated conversation, but we learn. We learn. So, any remarks from Christian Apologetics Network?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you, it's Apologetics. Thank you, 11, for joining. I mean, your presentation was top notch. You go way beyond and over beyond even my expectations. Your arguments were profound, it was structural, and it was respectful. I mean, that is Aladdin for you. Aladdin will always be Aladdin. He belittles everybody, he downplays everybody. So provided you are not on his side, that's what he says. So don't take his word too hard. That's just who he is. But on my own, but from all of us, hearing what you said, you're seeing your presentation and your arguments with Tay and some of your arguments with Aladdin, it shows that you really did your homework, and then you are versed in this. Thank you for
Yeah,
showing up and for
thank
coming to this
thank you for
thing.
having
I mean, to
this
our live stream.
opportunity.
Hopefully, oh, yeah. Hopefully, we'll invite you more often. Hopefully, you would you accept our invitation. Would you always keep in touch with you whenever we need you on board? We'll let you know, sir.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So finally, just to speak one or two things concerning the subject that was discussed today, because I was hoping that I could speak with Tay or would ask him a question, and I just needed to chip this in before we leave for you, the audience. When Tay was saying that Uthman standardized the Quran and he wrote it in a Quraysh dialect, which was the dialect that the Quran was revealed in, then there's a problem with that because everything about, honestly speaking, the problematic book because when Uthman was being, I mean, when Uthman told the scribes to write down the Quran in a Quraysh dialect in the 7th century, then the problem is how were they able to convey or how were they able to write the Quran in a Quraysh dialect without diacritical mark and vowelization? It was impossible. 11, you are from Africa, and I'm pretty sure from Nigeria. What I'm going to say, you would understand it better. You understand that if in Nigeria we have the Yoruba tribe, and you know that the Yoruba language is a language that if you have to write it down, you have to put diacritical mark, all those things that they put on top of it, those marks, because those marks means a lot. It can change a lot of things. So there's no way that you can differentiate a Yoruba man from a different tribe. And if they are speaking their language orally, you would you would know the difference. But if you are to write it down, what is going to differentiate it from somebody that is from a different tribe in Yoruba, I mean from a different tribe in Yoruba, would be the diacritical mark. So without the diacritical mark in Yoruba alphabet, what you just be writing down is still plain Yoruba. So in the 7th century, the Arabic was just a pure consonantal text, nothing like diacritical mark, nothing like vowelization. Then how was Zayd ibn Thabit and the three scribes, how were they able to put down the Quran in a Quraysh dialect without the diacritical mark and vowelization in the Arabic alphabet, which was not invented not until the 9th and 10th century? So there's a problem there, right there. So everything you look at in the Quran, when it comes to the Quran, it's problematic. You cannot defend this book. Like I said earlier, this scholarly work that was done on the manuscript itself, every of these Muslim scholars, they all came to the conclusion. Note, this is a scholarly work, not a religious work. A scholarly work. They all came to the conclusion that we do not have the Uthmanic Quran. While Muslims will tell you, go and look at Birmingham Folio. I think I debated um, logical analyst sometimes ago on this. The next thing, when I told him about the 6 earliest Quran manuscripts, the next thing he told me was the Birmingham Folio is a shows that is a copy of the Quran. And then guess what? I also schooled him on that also because the Birmingham Folio is just a folio, a 2 pages book. It is not even a complete Quran. And when you even look at those books, I mean those folios themselves, they predate Islam. They also outdate the Quran. So it is very problematic. None of these manuscripts, the Muslims are saying are still in search of the Uthmanic manuscript. They can't find it, and the scholars are saying we do not have it. And that's the reason people like this man that studied in university, that people like him would always have difficulties in the academia, because he knows that the way academics sees the Quran is actually different from the way the religious people sees this, because they only believe it like just believe and don't ask questions. But academia will ask questions, they will dig deep, and the more they dig deep, the more they begin to see the mess that is being covered up in the Quran and in Islam generally. So that's for me. Thank you very much, folks, for joining us till this time. I'm going to be linking the YouTube channel of 11 Apologetics in the descriptions. I'll have to edit it. I'll include it. So you can head to his channel, then subscribe, and then like and then follow his videos. They are to help you to grow in your apologetic tools and give you the tools to defend the faith and then attack polemics. Thank you guys for joining us. For myself, Ready to Reason, ETM Apologetics, and John Apologetics, we say God bless you till we meet next week. And just to tell you, by God's grace, Asun Tash will be coming next week to also have a session with us. Thank you very much, guys, and bye-bye.
Bye, guys.